Saad Yousef covers the Dallas Stars for The Athletic. And first off, before we get into the Stars, Saad, what a great sports time it is in your area right now. Texas Rangers punching their ticket to the World Series. Fans must just be buzzing.
Oh yeah, and it's the fall, so it's always Cowboy season when it's the fall, and then on top of that, you have the Texas Rangers in the World Series. The Stars, are one of the few teams left in the NHL without a regulation loss, so they're off to a pretty good start, and the Mavericks are about to get going with Luka Doncic and everything. So you're right, it's a buzzing time in the Metroplex for sure.
3-0-1 to start the year, and a big reason why has been the play of Jake Ottinger. His numbers are just absolutely out of this world. Can you talk a little bit about what you've seen from Ottinger, a guy who, I mean, some people would have had him in the Vezina conversation a year ago, and now it looks like he might have taken a step forward somehow.
Yeah, Jake Ottinger has a history of doing this where, he goes into a zone and most people nationally will remember the Calgary series as that being the kind of time. And, that's kind of become like a little moniker of Jake is, it's Calgary Jake and stuff. So he goes into the zone, but he's generally been pretty good at anyways. Like he can elevate his game, but his floor is also pretty good. And what you're talking about right now, he's playing some of his best hockey, and it's a joy to watch because when you watch Jake Ottinger at his best, he's technically sound. He's moving around really, really firmly in the crease, and he's playing confidently, and that's the way that he's playing right now. And you're absolutely right. I think it was after the third game, that they beat the Anaheim Ducks, and that's exactly what I said. I said the Stars might be digging out of a 0-3-0 hole if it wasn't for Jake Ottinger, and so. He's playing absolutely phenomenal.
Saad, I want to ask you about Miro Heiskanen. To me, his start to the year has been so incredibly impressive. You look back to last year and his talent has been undeniable. But you look at his offensive production, which exploded last year. He basically doubled his point total year over year and got to a 73-point range last year. This year, 4-4 to start. What's clicked for him? What's enabled him to produce at the offensive end of the ice? The defensive end has always been sound, but offensively in a way that he wasn't in the first few years of his career.
Well, the first thing is just opportunity, right? Because John Klingberg went out the door last year, so Miro Heiskanen elevated to the top power play unit. That was the first thing, and the top power play unit was the number 5 unit in the NHL. And a big reason was Miro, but also you have Joe Pavelski, Roope Hintz, Jason Robertson, and Jamie Benn on that top unit. So you're going to collect a lot of points when that is the case. The other thing is, I think Miro has one of those things where he's a little too much of a team player sometimes, and I think he's learning that it's okay that to be a little selfish, and it's okay that to understand that not everybody is as talented as he is. I mean, we talk about this with Connor McDavid all the time. If Connor McDavid always made the right hockey play, he wouldn't always be on all these highlight reels because not everyone can do what Connor McDavid does. And so Miro, I think, has taken some time to learn that he doesn't always have to make the exact right hockey play. He can sometimes take these chances that only Miro Heiskanen can, and he's learned to do that on the offensive end. And I think that's taken his game to another level.
If we wanted to nitpick and find some things that maybe haven't gone great in the first few games, one of them would be the production from Jason Robertson. What are you seeing right now with Jason Robertson? Is it something where teams are zeroing in on him a little bit more and he's got to adjust, or is it just a 6-game slump that, a 4-game slump that, hey, it's the first 4 games of the year, so we're noticing it more?
Well, I think when you look at Jason Robertson being in a slump, you're probably referring to the lack of points and things like that. But for me, when I look, and you're absolutely right, he is in a slump. But for me, the biggest indicator of that isn't the production, it's the fact that he's not getting shots on goal. And that is Jason Robertson's just absolute hallmark, that he always does that. And when he kind of disappeared in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs last year, that was the biggest thing. He wasn't getting shots on goal. And it's not that he's not getting shots off. His shots are getting blocked. And teams are figuring out that, if they want to play against him, they have to play uptight against him, and they can, and that's how they can take him away, because he's not built like Roope Hintz, where he has the speed and the skating to get away, get free, and create that. His thing is built on his raw ability to shoot. And so I think teams are figuring things out, but he is talented, and he's going to figure out a way to get out of it. This isn't the first time in his career that teams have figured him out. He's figured other ways to get around it. I'm curious to see what this next way is going to be.
Just quickly before we wrap up, we got a couple extra seconds. You had a chance to chat with Wyatt Johnson. You did a really cool story at The Athletic, sitting down and talking about some game film. Tell us a little bit about what you learned about Wyatt Johnson, the player.
You can tell he lives with Joe Pavelski. I mean, it's incredible how smart he is. And you know, if you're referring to that piece, I mean, when I watched that shift, I knew I wanted to break it down with Wyatt, but then when I was starting to talk to him and he's talking about how he's trying to take away passing lanes and blocking shots, and then the coolest thing was something I just tweeted out as well, was just how like he literally used another player to shield himself from the other team so that they can't see him, and then he just pops out, picks up the puck, and scores the goal right after that. I mean, he's an incredibly smart player. And you can, like I said, there's a lot of Joe Pavelski in his hockey IQ.
Boy, wouldn't the Dallas Stars love if he's Joe Pavelski 2.0. Saad, appreciate you swinging by, man. Enjoy the big day of hockey.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.